The ancient stone trembled beneath Eleanor's fingertips. Cold spread through her hands as she traced the carved symbols. Her breath caught. The runes shifted in the candlelight. They seemed to move, to dance, to whisper secrets only she could hear. "Miss Ashford, you waste our time with your silly notions." Professor Hartley's voice cut through the library. "Women have no place in scholarly pursuits." Eleanor's cheeks burned. She pulled her hand back from the stone tablet. The other scholars laughed. Their voices echoed off the high ceilings of the British Museum's private study room. She was the only woman among them, the only one they allowed to stay because her late father had been a respected archaeologist. "I merely thought, sir, that the pattern here matches the Celtic." "You thought?" Another scholar sneered. "My dear girl, thinking is not your purpose here. You are permitted to copy the texts, nothing more." She bent her head. Her fingers tightened around the quill. Ink dripped onto the page. It spread like a dark stain across her careful drawings, just like the stain she felt herself to be, a burden, an embarrassment, a woman of 28 with no husband, no prospects, no future. Her brother had made that clear this morning. "You cost me, Eleanor. Every day you live under my roof. You cost me." James had stood in the doorway of her tiny attic room. His face was red with anger. "My wife can barely tolerate your presence. She says you eat our food and give nothing in return." "I could take in sewing," Eleanor had whispered, "or teach languages. I speak 4. You speak too much." He had cut her off. "That is your problem. Always have your nose in books. Always spouting facts no one wants to hear. What man wants a wife who thinks herself clever?" The words had struck like blows. She had learned to curl around them, to make herself smaller, quieter, less. Now she sat in the cold library and copied runes she was not allowed to interpret. Her eyes blurred with tears. She refused to shed. Not here. Not where they could see. The stone tablet before her was newly arrived from Scotland, from the ruins of an old monastery. The symbols were strange, beautiful. They called to something deep in her chest. She had studied ancient languages since she was a child, sitting beside her father in his study, learning Celtic and Norse and Latin while other girls learned to dance. Those were happy days, before father died, before James inherited everything, before she became the unwanted sister, the spinster aunt, the woman who had failed at her only purpose. Her fingers moved across the page. She drew what she saw, but in her mind she translated. She could not help it. The runes formed words, the words formed sentences, and the sentences told a story that made her blood run cold. Here lies the curse of the one who reads, the one who sees, the one whose name is written in the ancient tongue. Eleanor's hand shook. She set down the quill. Her eyes moved back to the stone, to one particular set of symbols she had drawn but not yet examined closely. There, in the center, surrounded by spirals and crosses, her name, not Eleanor Ashford, but the old form, the Celtic form her father had told her about when she was small, the name that meant shining light, the name carved in stones older than memory. Eleanor of the Light. She who breaks the seal shall bear the weight. She who speaks the words shall walk between worlds. She who loves shall lose all, unless he loves in return with a heart unmarred by shadow. "Impossible," she breathed. "What did you say?" Professor Hartley loomed over her. "Muttering to yourself now? Further proof that women lack the constitution for serious study." She gathered her papers quickly. Her hands fumbled with the portfolio. "Forgive me, sir, I was only—" "You are dismissed, Miss Ashford. Do not return tomorrow. We have decided your assistance is no longer required." The room tilted. "But sir, I need—" She stopped. She needed the small wage they paid her, the few coins that let her buy her own soap, her own candles, the things that made her feel less like a beggar in her brother's house. "You need to find a husband," Professor Hartley said coldly, "before you become even more of a burden to your family. Good day." She fled, through the marble halls, down the wide steps, into the grey London afternoon. Rain fell in cold sheets. She had no umbrella, no money for a hansom cab. She walked. The streets blurred around her. Carriages splashed through puddles. Well-dressed ladies hurried past with servants holding umbrellas. No one looked at her. She was invisible, a ghost in a worn dress. By the time she reached her brother's townhouse, she was soaked through. Her teeth chattered. Her fingers were white with cold. She used the servants' entrance. The housekeeper, Mrs. Davies, gasped when she saw her. "Miss Eleanor, you're dripping on the floor." But the older woman's voice was kind. She wrapped Eleanor in a rough towel. "Come to the kitchen. Warm yourself by the fire." "I must not. My sister-in-law is out making calls." "Sit." Eleanor sat. The warmth of the fire hurt. Her hands burned as feeling returned. Mrs. Davies pressed a cup of hot tea into them. "They dismissed me," Eleanor said quietly. "From the museum." Mrs. Davies made a sympathetic sound. "Those old fools wouldn't know brilliance if it bit them. I am not brilliant. I am a burden. James is right. Your brother is a fool too." The housekeeper's voice was sharp. "Begging your pardon, miss, but he is. You're worth 10 of him. Your dear father knew it." Tears finally fell, hot against Eleanor's cold cheeks. "Father has been dead 5 years. His knowing does not help me now." She thought of the curse. The words carved in stone, her name. The prophecy about love, about loss, about walking between worlds. Superstition. That was all. The fears of ancient people trying to make sense of their world. But her fingers still tingled where they had touched the stone, and something in her chest felt different. Opened, awakened. That night she lay in her narrow bed in the attic. Rain drummed on the roof. She closed her eyes and saw the runes, burning bright behind her eyelids. The symbols moved, shifted, reformed. She saw a man, tall, dark-haired. His face was in shadow, but his eyes were silver. They looked at her with such intensity she felt it like a touch. "You read the words." His voice was deep, familiar somehow. "You broke the seal." "I do not understand." "You will." He reached out. His fingers almost touched her cheek. "When the moon is dark, come to the place of stones. Come alone, or be forever bound by what you have begun." Eleanor woke gasping. Her heart pounded. Just a dream, just her tired mind playing tricks. But when she looked at her hands in the moonlight, she saw symbols, faint, glowing, written across her palms in silver light. Runes, the same ones from the stone tablet. She had volunteered to translate ancient runes, and somehow, impossibly, she had read a curse written in her own name. Far across London, in a house so grand it seemed more palace than home, Lord Ambrose Blackwood could not sleep. He stood at the window of his study. The rain had stopped. Moonlight painted the gardens silver. Everything was quiet, perfect, empty, just like his life. He was a duke, one of the wealthiest men in England. At 32, he had everything a man could want. Title, land, respect. Women smiled at him at every ball. Men sought his favor. His investments made money while he slept. And he felt nothing. Not since Caroline died. His fingers tightened on the window frame. 3 years. It had been 3 years since his young wife had taken ill. Since he had watched her fade. Since he had buried her in the family plot while rain fell like tears. They had been married only 1 year. Barely knew each other. It had been an arrangement. A good match on paper. 2 old families uniting. She had been beautiful, sweet, dutiful, and he had felt nothing. Even as she died, even as he held her hand, he had felt like an actor in a play, performing grief, performing devotion. Inside, there was only numbness. "You have no heart," his sister had told him once. Caroline deserved better than a man made of ice. She was right. He knew she was right. But he did not know how to change, did not know how to feel. His days were full of business, his evenings full of social obligations. He attended balls because he must, danced with eager young ladies because it was expected, smiled and bowed and said the right things, and felt nothing. Tonight, something was different though. A restlessness, a pull in his chest, like a string being tugged. He pressed his hand to his ribs. His heart beat steady and strong, but it felt strange, awake. "Your Grace." His butler appeared in the doorway. "Forgive the intrusion. A letter has arrived." The messenger said it was urgent. Ambrose took the sealed paper. The wax was black. The symbol pressed into it was ancient. Celtic perhaps, or older. He broke the seal, unfolded the letter. The words were written in a hand he did not recognize. "The curse has been read. The seal is broken. You are bound by blood and stone to she who bears the mark. When the moon is dark, come to the place of stones, come alone, or be forever empty as you are now." Ambrose read it twice, then a third time. "Who brought this?" "I did not see him clearly, Your Grace. He was gone before I could ask." "That will be all." The butler bowed and left. Ambrose held the letter to the candlelight. The paper was old, the ink strange. When he tilted it, the words seemed to shimmer, to move. Impossible. But his chest still felt that pull, that awakening, as if something sleeping was stirring to life. He thought of Caroline, of her gentle smile and empty eyes, of the guilt he carried for not loving her as she deserved, for being unable to feel what a husband should feel. "Your Grace was always kind," she had whispered in those last days, "but I know you do not love me." "I am sorry," he had said, and meant it. He was sorry he could not be what she needed. Sorry his heart was stone. She had touched his cheek with weak fingers. "Perhaps someday you will meet someone who can break through. I hope you do. I hope you feel everything I hoped to make you feel." Then she had closed her eyes and never opened them again. Ambrose had buried his guilt with her, had thrown himself into work, into duty, into the cold comfort of routine. But tonight, something called. The letter burned in his hand. The words echoed in his mind. "You are bound." To whom? To what? He should throw the letter away. Return to his empty bed, his empty life. But his hand would not release the paper. And his heart, that dead thing in his chest, beat faster, as if it knew, as if it recognized something he did not yet understand. When the moon was dark, the letter said, that was tomorrow night. The dark moon, the new moon, the beginning of the cycle, the place of stones. There was only one place that could mean The ancient stone circle on his family's estate in the north, the place his ancestors had guarded for generations, the place he had not visited since he was a boy. "Your Grace should never go there alone," his old nurse had warned him. "Dark things sleep beneath those stones. Old promises, old magic." He had laughed at her then. A rational man did not believe in magic, in curses, in promises written in blood and stone. But tonight, alone in his study with moonlight painting everything silver, Ambrose Blackwood felt something he had not felt in 3 years. He felt afraid, and beneath the fear, something else, something that might have been hope. Eleanor stood at the edge of the stone circle and trembled. The night was moonless, dark. The stars above were bright and cold. Around her, 12 standing stones rose from the earth like ancient fingers. They formed a perfect circle. At the center, a flat altar stone gleamed black in the starlight. She should not have come. This was madness. But the marks on her hands had grown brighter each day. The symbols burned, and in her dreams, the dark-haired man called to her, "Come to the stones, come alone, or the curse will consume you." So she had come. She had slipped from her brother's house at midnight, had taken the mail coach north, had walked the last 5 miles through dark fields to reach this place. The estate belonged to the Duke of Blackwood. Everyone in the village knew the stones were his, knew to stay away. But when Eleanor had asked directions, an old woman had looked at her strangely. "The stones be calling you, girl. I must see them. Then you must go. When the stones call, you must answer, or be forever mocked." Now she stood at the circle's edge. Her hands glowed silver. The runes on her palms pulsed with light. She stepped forward. The air changed, thickened. She felt resistance, as if pushing through water. Then she was inside the circle. The stones hummed, a low sound she felt in her bones. "You came." Eleanor spun. A man stood at the opposite edge of the circle, tall, dark-haired. His eyes caught the starlight and reflected it back like silver coins. The man from her dreams. "Who are you?" Her voice shook. "Lord Ambrose Blackwood." He stepped into the circle. The stone's humming grew louder. "Duke of Blackwood, and apparently I am bound to you." He held up his hands. They glowed with the same silver light. The same runes marked his palms. "I do not understand." Eleanor's heart pounded. "I only translated some symbols. I did not mean to." "You broke a seal." His voice was cold, controlled, but she heard the fear beneath it. "A curse that has protected my family for 800 years, and in breaking it, you bound yourself to me. That is impossible. Curses are not real." "Are they not?" He moved closer. His eyes swept over her. She felt his gaze like a touch. "Then explain the marks. Explain why I cannot sleep. Why I see you every time I close my eyes. Why something that has been dead in me for years suddenly burns." Eleanor stumbled back. Her foot struck the altar stone. She caught herself against it. The black stone was warm, pulsing, like a heartbeat. "What happens now?" she whispered. "Now we pay the price." Ambrose's jaw tightened. "The curse is clear. You read the words. You bear the mark, and so do I. We are bound until the debt is paid." "What debt?" "Love," he said, the word like a curse. "True love, a heart unmarred by shadow. You must love me, and I must love you. Only then will the marks fade. Only then are we free." Eleanor laughed. The sound was bitter. "You do not know me. I do not know you. How can we possibly?" "We cannot." His voice was flat. I am incapable of love. My heart is stone, so we are both trapped. The marks on Eleanor's hands flared bright. Pain shot up her arms. She gasped. Ambrose grabbed her wrists. His touch sent shock through her. The pain lessened. The light steadied. "When we touch, it eases," he said quietly. His fingers were warm around her wrists. "Strong. That is part of the curse. We must stay together. Stay close, or the marks will burn us both." Tears filled Eleanor's eyes. "I did not mean to do this. Intent does not matter. Magic cares nothing for what we mean, only what we do." He released her wrists. Immediately, the burning returned. "We have two choices. We can stay apart and suffer, or we can stay together and try to break the curse. How long do we have?" "Until the next dark moon. 1 month." His silver eyes held hers. "If we have not learned to love by then, the marks will consume us. We will become shadows, trapped between worlds forever." Eleanor's knees gave out. She sat hard on the altar stone. 1 month. 1 month. To make this cold, beautiful man love her. This duke, who looked at her with such emptiness, who spoke of love like death. She thought of her brother's house, her tiny attic room, the future stretching empty before her, a burden, a spinster, unwanted. Perhaps being a shadow would be better. "I see it in your eyes." Ambrose's voice was softer now. He knelt before her. "You think this is not worth fighting for, your life. But I assure you, becoming a shadow is worse than any mortal suffering." "How would you know?" "Because I have been a shadow for 3 years." His hand touched her cheek, gentle. The burning in her marks faded to a whisper. "Since my wife died, I have walked through life without feeling, without living. I would not wish that on anyone, especially not on you. You do not know me." "No." His thumb brushed a tear from her cheek. "But I know you did not deserve this. And I know that I am responsible. I am the last of the Blackwood line, the guardian of the stones. I should have protected the seal, should have prevented this." Eleanor looked into his silver eyes. She saw pain there, guilt, and something else. A flicker of something that might have been hope. "What must we do?" "We must marry." The words fell heavy between them. "Tonight, here, under the witness of the stones. It is the only way to bind the curse properly, to give us a chance." "Marry." Eleanor's voice was hollow. "A forced marriage to a man who cannot love." "Yes." He stood, offered his hand. "I know it is not what you wanted, not what either of us wanted, but it is what we have. And I swear to you, I will try. I will do everything in my power to break this curse, to set you free." She looked at his hand. Strong, scarred. The marks on his palm glowed silver, matching hers. 2 halves of a whole, bound by ancient magic, by words she had read without understanding. She thought of the curse. "She who loves shall lose all, unless he loves in return with a heart unmarred by shadow." His heart was all shadow. He had said so himself. They were doomed. But his hand was steady, and his eyes held hers with an intensity that made her breath catch, as if he could see her. Really see her. Not the burden, not the spinster, but something else. Eleanor took his hand. The marks flared bright. The stones hummed. Wind rose from nowhere, whipping her skirts, tearing at her hair. Ambrose pulled her to her feet. His other hand wrapped around her waist, holding her steady. "By blood and stone," his voice rang out, "I bind myself to you." The words came to Eleanor's lips without thought, as if the curse spoke through her. By blood and stone, I bind myself to you. Light exploded. Silver and gold. The standing stones blazed like torches. The altar stone beneath them cracked. A sound like thunder shook the earth. Then silence. Eleanor found herself wrapped in Ambrose's arms, her face pressed to his chest. His heart pounded beneath her ear. Fast, strong, alive. "It is done," he said quietly. "We are married." She pulled back, looked up at him. "What happens now?" "Now we go home." His hand cupped her face. "To Blackwood Manor, where we will try to learn what neither of us knows, how to love." Blackwood Manor was like something from a story. The carriage rolled up the long drive as dawn painted the sky pink and gold. Eleanor pressed her face to the window. The house rose before her, all grey stone and mullioned windows. Towers reached toward the sky. Gardens stretched in every direction. "It is too much," she whispered. "It is home." Ambrose sat across from her. He had not slept during the journey. Neither had she. They had sat in silence, their hands joined to ease the burning of the marks. "Or it will be, for you." The carriage stopped. Servants poured out. A butler, housemaids, footmen. They all stopped and stared when Ambrose helped Eleanor down. She knew what they saw. A woman in a worn travelling dress, wind-blown, no luggage, no maid, no jewelry, arriving at dawn with their master. "This is my wife." Ambrose's voice cut through the whispers. "The Duchess of Blackwood. You will show her every courtesy." The servants bowed, but Eleanor saw the questions in their eyes, the confusion. Who was she? Where had she come from? Why had the Duke, who had not looked at a woman since his first wife died, suddenly appeared with a bride? "Your Grace." The butler bowed low. "Welcome home. Shall I prepare the Duchess' rooms?" "My rooms." Ambrose's hand tightened on Eleanor's. "My wife will stay with me." More whispers. Eleanor's cheeks burned. But Ambrose led her up the steps, through doors that were twice her height, into a hall so grand her breath caught. Paintings lined the walls, ancestors staring down with stern faces, chandeliers dripped crystal. Her footsteps echoed on marble floors. "I do not belong here," she said. "You do now." He led her up a sweeping staircase, down a corridor lined with portraits, to a door at the end. "These are my chambers, ours now." The room beyond was enormous, a bed that could fit 6 people. Windows overlooking the gardens, furniture that probably cost more than her brother's entire house. "I cannot." "You must." Ambrose closed the door behind them. "The curse requires closeness. If we are apart too long, the burning returns. We must share these rooms. This life." Eleanor turned to face him. Dawn light streamed through the windows. It caught his face, showed the lines of exhaustion, the shadows beneath his eyes, the tension in his jaw. He was beautiful, hard and cold like the stones of his circle, but beautiful. "I am afraid," she whispered. "So am I." He moved closer. His hands rested on her shoulders, warm, steady. "I do not know how to be a husband. I failed at it once already, but I will try, for both our sakes. What do you want from me?" "I want you to live here, to be my wife in name and in truth. I want you to be comfortable, safe. I will not force myself on you." His silver eyes held hers. "But I will touch you, because we must touch to ease the marks. I will spend time with you, speak with you, learn who you are. And if we fail, if love does not come, Then we face the curse together. His hand moved to her cheek. But until then, Eleanor, I want you to have everything you have been denied. Comfort, respect, freedom to pursue what you love. You said you study ancient languages. My library is yours. My resources are yours. Be happy here if you can. Tears spilled over. No one had cared about her happiness in years. No one had offered her anything but duty and obligation. Why? Her voice broke. Why are you being kind? Because you do not deserve cruelty. His thumb brushed away her tears, and because perhaps kindness is where love begins. He kissed her forehead, soft, brief, then he stepped back. Rest, now. Sleep. Tonight we will dine together, begin to know each other. He left her alone in the grand room. Eleanor stood in the dawn light and felt the marks on her hands pulse with warmth. Not burning, not painful, just there, reminding her she was married to a duke who could not love, bound by a curse to a man who was a stranger. She had 1 month to break through his walls of shadow, 1 month to save them both. She looked out the window at the gardens below, at the beauty surrounding her, and wondered if beauty could heal what was broken. If kindness could become love, if a heart of stone could learn to beat again. The days fell into a rhythm. Eleanor woke each morning in the enormous bed. Ambrose was always gone already, risen early to manage his estate. A maid brought breakfast, laid out dresses in rich fabrics and jewel colors. Eleanor protested at first. I cannot accept such finery.
You are the Duchess, Mrs. Hartley, the housekeeper, said firmly. You must dress the part. His Grace insists.
So Eleanor wore the beautiful gowns, learned to let the maid arrange her hair, looked in the mirror and barely recognized herself. The woman staring back was elegant, well-dressed. Nothing like the shabby spinster who had lived in her brother's attic. But she still felt like Eleanor inside, still felt small and uncertain. The library saved her. It was 3 stories tall. Thousands of books lined the shelves. Maps covered the tables. Ancient texts in languages most scholars had forgotten. Eleanor stood in the doorway that first day and felt tears of joy. I thought you might like it here. Ambrose appeared beside her. My grandfather collected these. He shared your passion for ancient languages. This is magnificent. It is yours. He smiled. The expression transformed his face, made him look younger, less cold. Spend your days here. Study, translate. Be happy. She was. The library became her sanctuary. She pulled down books on Celtic history, Norse mythology, Roman conquest. She found texts on ancient Britain that no one had studied in decades, and she worked. Her translations were careful, precise. She made notes, drew connections, lost herself in the work she loved. And each evening Ambrose came to her. They dined together in a small parlor, not the grand dining room that could seat 40. A cozy room with a fireplace and comfortable chairs. They ate and talked. At first, the conversations were stilted, awkward. He asked about her work. She asked about his estates. They circled each other like wary cats. But slowly, things changed. Tell me about your father, Ambrose said one night. Eleanor's eyes grew distant. He was wonderful, brilliant. He taught me everything, languages, history, how to think, how to question. He loved you. Yes. Her voice caught. I was his favorite. He used to say I had the mind of a scholar, that I could have been great if I had been born a man. You are great. Ambrose's hand covered hers on the table. The marks glowed softly. Man or woman, your mind is exceptional. She looked at their joined hands. His fingers were long, elegant. The touch sent warmth through her. No one has said such things to me in years. Then they were fools. Another night, Eleanor asked about Caroline. Ambrose's face went blank. What do you want to know? Did you love her? No. The word was flat. I tried. She deserved my love. But I could not give it. I do not know why. Something is wrong with me. Broken. Eleanor squeezed his hand. You are not broken. You are hurt. There is a difference. Is there? His silver eyes met hers. I watched her die. I felt nothing. What kind of man feels nothing when his wife dies? A man who is afraid to feel anything at all. Eleanor's voice was soft. Sometimes we build walls so high that nothing can get through, not even love. He stared at her. Something flickered in his expression. Surprise, recognition. How did you become so wise? I am not wise. I am only observant. And I know about walls. I built plenty of my own. They talked late into the night about pain, about loneliness, about the ways people protect themselves, and Eleanor began to see past the cold duke, to the man underneath, the one who was lost, afraid, desperate to feel but terrified of the pain. The marks on their hands grew brighter each day, not burning, warming, as if responding to their growing connection. We are running out of time, Eleanor said one morning. They walked in the garden together. The roses were in bloom, red and white and pink. The air smelled sweet. 2 weeks have passed. I know. Ambrose stopped beside a fountain. Water splashed over stone cherubs. Do you feel anything? When you look at me? Eleanor's heart stuttered. Yes. What? I feel, she searched for words. I feel safe and seen. You make me feel like I matter. His hand cupped her cheek. You do matter, more than you know. But is that love? Her eyes searched his. Or just gratitude? I do not know. His thumb brushed her lower lip. I do not know what love feels like. Neither do I. They stood in the garden, the sun warm on their faces, their marks glowing silver, and Eleanor realized she was terrified, not of the curse, not of becoming a shadow. She was terrified of losing this, losing him, losing the first person in years who made her feel whole. The breakthrough came during a storm. Rain lashed the windows, thunder shook the mango. Eleanor worked in the library, translating a particularly difficult text. She was so absorbed she did not hear Ambrose enter. You should rest. His voice made her jump. You have been here for hours. I am close to something. She gestured at her notes. This text describes a ritual, a binding. I think it might be related to our curse. Ambrose moved to stand beside her. He looked at the ancient page, at her careful translations. What does it say? It says that love is not a feeling, it is a choice. Eleanor's finger traced the words. The ancient Celts believed love was an act of will. You chose to see someone, to know them, to stay even when it was hard. That is not how poets describe it. Poets are wrong. She looked up at him. Love is not lightning. It is rain. Steady, constant, wearing away stone until water flows through. Ambrose stared at her. Rain drummed against the windows. Thunder rolled, and something in his face changed. Softened. You are rain, he said quietly. What? You are rain, wearing away my stone. His hand touched her face. I wake thinking of you. I spend my days wanting to tell you things, to see you smile, to hear your thoughts. Is that love, or just need? Eleanor's breath caught. I do not know, but I feel it too. This pull, this wanting. I am afraid. His voice dropped to a whisper. What if I fail you like I failed Caroline? What if I cannot be what you need? You already are. She stood, placed her hands on his chest, felt his heart pounding beneath her palms. You see me. You value me. You make me feel like I am not a burden. That is everything. Ambrose's arms wrapped around her. He pulled her close, his face buried in her hair. I do not want to lose you, not to the curse, not to anything. Then do not let me go. Never. The marks on their hands blazed bright. Gold. Now, instead of silver, the light filled the library. Books glowed. The rain outside seemed to pause, hold its breath. I love you. Ambrose's voice shook. I did not think I could, did not think I knew how, but I do. I love you, Eleanor. Your mind, your strength, your gentle heart. I love everything you are. Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. I love you too. I have been falling since the first kindness you showed me, since you treated me like I mattered. He kissed her then, deep and slow. His hands cradled her face like she was precious, breakable. The kiss tasted of rain and desperation and hope. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. The marks on their hands were brilliant gold, pulsing in time with their hearts. Is it enough? Eleanor whispered. Is it real enough to break the curse? I do not know. Ambrose pressed his forehead to hers. But it is real. This feeling, this certainty. You are everything to me. If that is not love, then love does not exist. Thunder crashed. The windows blew open. Wind and rain poured into the library. Books flew from shelves. Papers scattered. Eleanor gasped. Ambrose pulled her close, sheltered her with his body. The storm raged around them. The marks on their hands burned, not painful, transforming. I love you, Eleanor shouted over the wind. I choose you. I choose this. I choose us. I choose you, Ambrose echoed. Today, tomorrow, forever. The light exploded. Gold became white, brilliant, blinding. Eleanor felt it pour through her, burning away fear, burning away doubt, leaving only truth. She loved him, truly, deeply. Not because a curse forced it, but because he had shown her she was worthy of love, had given her safety and respect and freedom, had let her be herself, and he loved her. Not duty, not obligation, but real love. She heard it in his voice, felt it in his touch, saw it in his eyes, when he looked at her like she was a miracle. The storm stopped. The wind died. The rain ceased mid-fall. A silence. Eleanor opened her eyes. The library was wrecked. Books everywhere, papers soaked. The windows stood open, but the air was clear, fresh, new. She looked at her hands. The marks were gone. Ambrose. She turned his hands over, smooth, unmarked. They are gone. The curse is broken. He stared at their hands, then at her face. Then he laughed. The sound was pure joy. He swept her up, spun her around. We did it. We are free. Free, Eleanor breathed. Then realized, we are free. You do not have to keep me. The curse is broken. I could leave. Ambrose set her down. His face went serious. Do you want to leave? No. The word was instant. Certain. No. I want to stay. I want this. You. Good. He kissed her again. Softer this time. Because I am not letting you go. Curse or no curse, you are my wife. My love, my heart. Your heart is not stone. No, he smiled, it is yours. Act 4, the crisis. 3 weeks of happiness. 3 weeks of waking in Ambrose's arms, of long talks in the library, of walks in the garden, of learning each other's bodies and hearts and souls. Eleanor had never been so happy, never imagined she could be. The marks were gone, but the love remained, growing stronger each day. Until the letter arrived. Eleanor was in the library when Ambrose found her. His face was pale, his jaw tight. He held a piece of paper like it was a snake. What is wrong? She stood quickly. Your brother. Ambrose's voice was flat. He is coming here with his wife. They demand to see you. Cold washed through Eleanor. No. He says you stole from him, that you left in the night without permission. He wants you returned to his custody. Ambrose's hand crushed the letter. He says I have been deceived, that you tricked me into marriage. I did not. I know. Ambrose pulled her into his arms. I know you did not, but he is coming. Tomorrow. We must face this. Eleanor trembled. He will take me back. He is my legal guardian. I am unmarried in his eyes. The ceremony in the stone circle was not legal, not recognized by the church or state. Then we will marry again. Ambrose's voice was fierce. Today, now, I will get a special license. We will make it legal beyond question. It will not matter. He will find a way. He always does. Not this time. Ambrose tilted her face up. I will not let him take you. You are mine, my wife, my duchess, and I protect what is mine. But Eleanor saw the doubt in his eyes, the fear. They both knew the law favored men like James, brothers, guardians. Husbands had rights, but did a husband married in a pagan ceremony under a dark moon have any rights at all? James Ashford arrived with his wife in a carriage bearing a crest he had no right to use. He was trying to look important. Eleanor watched from the window as they climbed down. Her brother's face was red with anger. His wife looked smug. Come. Ambrose took Eleanor's hand. We face this together. They met in the drawing room. James looked around at the rich furnishings, and his eyes gleamed with greed. His wife, Margaret, sneered at Eleanor's fine dress. So you found yourself a rich fool, James said. Congratulations, sister. I did not think you had it in you. Watch your tongue. Ambrose's voice cut like ice. You speak to the Duchess of Blackwood. James laughed. Duchess? She is no more a duchess than I am the king. Whatever lies she told you, whatever trap she laid, I am here to take her home. I am home. Eleanor's voice shook, but she forced herself to stand tall. I am married. I am staying here. Married? Margaret's voice was shrill. To whom? There is no record of marriage, no banns posted, no ceremony. We were married by ancient rite, Ambrose said coldly. Before witnesses of stone and sky. James snorted. Pagan nonsense. Not legal, not binding. Eleanor is unmarried in the eyes of the law, and as her guardian, I demand she return home. She is 28, Ambrose said. Past the age of majority, you have no legal claim. I have every claim. She lived under my roof, ate my food, stole my property when she left. James pulled out another paper. She took books, family heirlooms, items that belonged to our father. I want them returned. And I want her returned to face charges of theft. Eleanor gasped. I took nothing, only my own clothes, my own books. Everything in that house is mine, including you. No. Ambrose stepped between them. She is mine, my wife in truth and in law. I had a special license drawn up. We married properly yesterday in the village church. It is all legal, all recorded. He pulled out a document, held it up. Eleanor's eyes widened. When had he done this? How? James snatched the paper, read it. His face went purple. This is a trick. She deceived you. She is nothing. A burden. A dried-up spinster with no value. Why would a duke marry such a creature? Because I love her. Ambrose's voice rang out, clear, strong. Because she is brilliant and kind, and everything I have ever wanted. Because she is worth 1,000 of you. The room went silent. Margaret's mouth hung open. James stared. Eleanor felt tears streak down her face. Ambrose. He turned to her, took her hands. You are not a burden. You are not worthless. You are everything, and I will spend my life proving it to you. How touching. James's voice dripped poison, but love does not change facts. She came from nothing. She is nothing, and she will ruin you. Society will laugh. They will say the great Duke of Blackwood married a nobody. A scholar's daughter with no connections, no dowry, no value. I care nothing for society. Ambrose kept his eyes on Eleanor. I care only for her. Then you are a fool. Neardeep. James threw down the marriage document. Keep her, see how long your love lasts, when every door in London closes to you, when every family cuts you, when your name becomes a joke. He stormed out. Margaret followed, her face twisted with spite. The door slammed behind them. Eleanor sank onto the sofa, her whole body shook. He is right. I will ruin you. Your position, your reputation. My reputation is mine to spend as I choose. Ambrose knelt before her, and I choose to spend it on you. But society can burn. He cupped her face. I have spent 3 years doing what society expects, being what they want. And I was empty. Dead inside. You brought me back to life. That is worth any price. You do not understand. They will destroy you, talk about you, cut you from their circles. Let them. He kissed her palms. I have you. That is all I need. But Eleanor saw the tension in his shoulders, the worry in his eyes. He said the words, meant them, but he did not understand yet what he had sacrificed, what she had cost him. The invitations stopped coming. First one, then another, then all of them. Word spread quickly in society. The Duke of Blackwood had married beneath him, married a nobody. A scandal. Ambrose did not seem to care. He spent his days with Eleanor, his evenings, his nights. They were happy in their private world. But Eleanor watched him, saw the letters he received, the cold responses to his correspondence, the business partners who suddenly had other commitments. You are losing everything, she said one evening. They sat in the library. Rain fell outside. Because of me, I am losing nothing that matters. He pulled her close. I have you. That is everything. But you need society for your business, your estates, your position in the House of Lords. I will manage. But his jaw was tight. Eleanor felt the weight of it, the burden she had become, just like James said, just like she had always feared. She was ruining him, and she loved him too much to let it continue. She waited until he was asleep, waited until his breathing was deep and even. Then she slipped from the bed, dressed quietly, left a letter on her pillow. My love, I cannot watch you lose everything for me. You deserve better than a woman who brings you only shame. Please forgive me. Please forget me. Please be happy. I love you too much to stay, Eleanor. She walked out of Blackwood Manor with only the clothes on her back, the same way she had arrived, a ghost. A shadow. Nothing. The village was dark. She walked to the coaching inn, paid for a seat on the early mail coach, with the few coins she had. She did not look back. Better to break both their hearts now than to watch him destroyed slowly. Better to disappear than to be the anchor that drowned him. She loved him. That was why she left, even if it killed her. Ambrose woke to an empty bed. For a moment, he thought Eleanor had gone to the library. Then he saw the letter. Read it. Read it again. The words blurred as rage and pain tore through him. She left. She thought she was a burden. Thought she was ruining him. She was wrong. He dressed in minutes, ran downstairs. Saddle my horse, now. The servants scattered. Within moments, he was mounted, riding hard toward the village. His heart pounded. His mind raced. He had been a fool, had let her see his worry, his tension, had made her think she was the problem, when the problem was the small-minded idiots of the ton. He did not care about them, did not need them, but he needed her. He needed Eleanor like he needed air. The coaching inn was crowded. Ambrose pushed through. Where is the mail coach? The one heading to London? Left 10 minutes ago, Your Grace. Ambrose ran back to his horse, rode harder. The road was muddy from rain. His horse's hooves threw up clods of dirt. He leaned low over the animal's neck, pushed for more speed. He saw the coach ahead, called out. The driver looked back, saw him slowed. Ambrose reached the coach door, yanked it open. Eleanor sat inside. Her eyes were red from crying. When she saw him, she gasped. No, Ambrose, no. Let me go. Never. He reached in, pulled her out, set her on his horse in front of him. Never, Eleanor. Do you hear me? Never. You do not understand. I understand that I love you. That is all that matters. He turned the horse, rode back toward the village, toward the square where people were gathering for market day. He rode into the center, dismounted, helped Eleanor down. She tried to pull away, but he held her fast. Listen to me, he shouted. His voice rang out. People stopped, stared. All of you, listen. A crowd gathered. Eleanor's face burned with shame. Please, she whispered. Please do not do this. I am Ambrose Blackwood, Duke of Blackwood. His voice carried across the square. And this is my wife, Eleanor, Duchess of Blackwood. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Eleanor tried to hide her face. I know what you have heard, Ambrose continued. That she is beneath me, that I married a nobody, that I have shamed my name. He pulled Eleanor close, forced her to look at him. They are wrong. She is not beneath me. She is everything. She is brilliant and kind and strong. She makes me better. She makes me whole. Ambrose, stop. Tears poured down Eleanor's face. I will not stop. Not until you understand. He cupped her face. You think you are a burden. You think you cost me something. You did. You cost me my coldness, my emptiness, my half-life. And I am grateful, because what you gave me in return is worth more than every title, every estate, every friend I could ever have. But society can accept us or not. I do not care. Let them whisper. Let them cut me. Let them turn away. I have you. That is all I need. You are all I will ever need. He turned back to the crowd. So yes, I married her, and I would do it again. Every day, every moment, because she is mine. and I am hers. And that is worth everything. The crowd was silent. Eleanor stared at him, at this proud, powerful man declaring his love before everyone, risking everything for her. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you so much." "Then stop running." He kissed her, deep and tender. "Stop thinking you are not enough. You are everything. You are my heart, my home, my life. I am afraid. So am I, but we are afraid together." He smiled. "That is what love is. Choosing each other, every day, even when it is hard." Eleanor looked at the watching crowd, at their curious faces, their judgment, their whispers, and she realized something. They did not matter. Their opinions, their approval, none of it mattered. Only this, only him, only them. "I choose you," she said clearly. "Today, tomorrow, forever. And I choose you." They kissed again. The crowd began to clap, slowly at first, then louder. An old woman shouted, "About time. Love like that should be celebrated, not hidden." Others joined in, cheering, laughing. Eleanor buried her face in Ambrose's chest and laughed and cried at the same time. "Come home," he whispered. "Come home with me." "Yes, always yes." They rode back together. Eleanor seated before him on the horse, his arms around her, her head on his shoulder. The world spread wide around them, full of possibility. 6 months later, Eleanor stood in the British Museum, in the very room where she had first touched the cursed stone. But now she wore a fine gown, a duchess coronet, and respect. "Your Grace." Professor Hartley bowed. His face was strained. "Thank you for coming. You said you needed my expertise." Eleanor's voice was cool. "Yes, we have a new tablet. More runes. We cannot translate them." He hesitated. "You are the finest scholar of Celtic languages in England. We need your help." Eleanor smiled. "I will help, on one condition." "Anything. You will pay me properly. You will credit my work, and you will hire other women scholars. Women have minds, Professor. It is time you recognize that." He sputtered, but he agreed. He had no choice. Eleanor's translations had been published, had made her famous in scholarly circles. She had proven herself beyond question. Ambrose waited outside. He leaned against a pillar and smiled when he saw her. "Well, they agreed to my terms." "Of course they did. You are brilliant." He pulled her close, "and terrifying when you want to be. I learned from you." They walked out into the London afternoon. Sunshine painted the street gold. Carriages rattled past. People bowed as they passed. The Duke and Duchess of Blackwood respected, admired, loved. Society had accepted them in the end. Some because they had to, some because love like theirs could not be denied, and some because Ambrose was too powerful to ignore. But Eleanor did not care about society anymore. She cared about her work, her husband, the life they had built. That night, they lay in bed together. Moonlight painted silver patterns on the walls. Eleanor traced the place on Ambrose's palm where the mark used to be. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "The curse, what it cost us?" "Never." He caught her hand, kissed her fingers. "That curse brought me you. I would pay any price for that. Even your heart of stone, especially that." He smiled. "I do not need a heart of stone, not when I have a heart of flesh that beats only for you." Eleanor kissed him, soft and deep, full of love, full of promise. They had started in darkness, in curses and shadows and binding magic. But they had found light, found each other, found love that was stronger than any curse. She had volunteered to translate ancient runes, had read a curse written in her own name, and in doing so had found the greatest magic of all. Love, true, deep, transforming. The kind of love that changed everything, that broke through stone, that made the impossible real. She fell asleep in his arms, safe, loved, home. And far away, in a circle of ancient stones, the altar stone glowed with soft golden light. A blessing, a thanks, the magic recognizing what it had created. Not a curse after all, but a gift. The gift of two hearts finding each other, two souls becoming one, two broken people made whole forever.